Hi guys, it's Ryder back again with another video and let's try get into it. So this is a video that a lot of you guys have asked me to put out because a lot of you have been asking about the review of my bike or how my old bike has been. The reason I said old bike is because I've sold this bike already. It's almost been a year since I sold this bike, and this bike has gone to a good second home where it's been taken care of, it's being ridden, it's not been put in a shed or anything like that or left to just rot. So I'm very hype on that, and the person really likes the bike and I'm super excited for him. So I bought this bike in I think so 2016, the year it came out. It is a good bike, like you can see here. There are some photos playing in the background. The bike is a good looking bike, it's not the best performing bike. Now, since I am in a group of cyclists where there are a lot of good bikes, so I've ridden a lot of good bikes, and once you kind of get used to the feeling of very expensive good bikes, you kind of start to gravitate towards them. You are not very excited to ride that old bike again. Like for say, this bike had 3 by 7 drivetrain, which was very good when I got the bike. But then I started riding other bikes which had like 2 by 9, 2 by 10 drivetrains, which which do feel very good. And the biggest thing about owning this bike is how much I spent on this bike. I spent almost 15,000 rupees, give or take, on this bike. I had quite a few problems with this bike, mainly with the rear pivot, so which is right here. And the main problem I had was that the rear pivot is just a bushing, and it has to be tightened from both sides, which it wasn't done properly, and the frame was not, I think so, well suited for the type of riding I do. I mean, of course, it was a Firefox, so it's set on a head tube, no stunting or jumping, and always wear a helmet. Like you see, wherever I'm riding the bike, I always have a helmet on. So the rear frame, the rear triangle was only tightened from one side whenever I asked the people at Firefox to do it, because I did not have the necessary tools to remove the crank and tighten it from the drive side. So what happened was that the frame was tightened from one side, so it sort of twisted towards the right side a little bit. So I mean, it wasn't too much, but I could definitely notice it, and I think so. It did affect the performance of the bike because it wasn't as free rolling as it could have. Both the wheels were not pointing in the same direction. Now, if you've seen the review of my bike, which will be right there up at the corner, at the top right corner, you can exactly see what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to explain like this, but if you head over to that video, you can see what I'm talking about. Now, I did a lot of upgrades on this bike. So, first of all, I changed the seat. I did not like the seat on this bike. It wasn't very comfortable for me, and I changed a lot of stuff. I had changed the headset on the bike, the bottom bracket. I had changed the brake pads. Brake pads was just a maintenance thing. Uh, I changed the handlebar, the stem, the grips, the brake levers, the shifters, the derailleur. I changed both the hubs because I ended up breaking both of the hubs. So I got replacement hubs. So in that sense, the bike costed me a lot. And I got good tires for the bike because tires make a very big difference in the feel of your bike. And like you can see here, the bike had a very good silhouette, and yes, the seat is raised very high, but that is the correct pedaling height for me. um, I'll make a video on the perfect pedaling height and what sizing you should go for when you're looking for a bike. It'll give you a better idea on how to buy a bike that perfectly fits you. Whereas when you generally go to buy a bike, you sit on a bike and you try to flat foot the bike while sitting on the seat. That's not the correct way to measure the bike length or the bike size. So you can see I've ridden the bike in some good off-road terrain. some technical train. Mostly, like the name of the channel suggests, it's ride urban, and I used to do a lot of urban riding. So it was a lot of staircases, a lot of just. So it wasn't very chunky riding that I used to do, or something that was very technical. It was more like a lot of urban stuff, doing things in the city, curbs and sidewalks and stairs and whatnot. So I have ridden this bike a lot. I have broken a lot of things on this bike, uh, and the problem I had was the frame being bent. Other than that, this is a very good bike. Even though it's a full suspension bike, I did ride this bike a lot. I think so. I have covered over 8,000 kilometers on this bike. This bike for I think so 3.5 4 years. So I had a very good experience with the bike. Not so well with the actual brand Firefox, and that's because they have very poor customer service. Like I said, whenever I took the bike in to get the pivot, to get the bike serviced or the pivot tightened, because it was so loosey goosey, they did not tighten it from both sides. Even though I did ask them to do it, and I did stand there and I tried to explain the situation to them. They did not understand. They were pretty arrogant about it. So I kind of stopped going there. And if you see the review of my bike, I mentioned track and trail, and I used to go there. Very good. Like you can see the rear shock, I removed the lower cover of the shock, because the upper part, and here you can see I've completely removed it. So the lower part of the shock cover is made out of rubber, and the top part is made out of plastic. So after you've ridden your bike a lot, the rubber starts to sort of wear off, like a shiny coating on it, and then it starts to make a very swatchy sort of sound, a very weird sort of sound. So it's not a very exciting thing to hear whenever you're riding a bike. Also, this bike comes in two sizes. I bought the bigger size, which was 19.5 inches. That's like a medium large. Like in my previous video, I told you about the sizes. So this size sort of falls between a medium and a large. So but a lot of short riders may not be able to go for this size, is because the top tube is so high that it might be hard for them to even swing their leg over. Now, like you can see, the bike was actually pretty scratched up and all. The paint quality on this bike isn't the best, but the paint color is so beautiful. I loved that color, and I wish I could keep that bike, but because of financial constraints, I had to let it go. It wasn't the happiest day of my life when I let the bike go. So, anyways, um the bike rode pretty well. It didn't have much issues while riding. The bike was an absolute charm to ride. It could take some. It was a pretty capable bike, but like you can see here, it's not a very modern bike. Like, geometry of the frame isn't the most modern. It has long chainstay. It doesn't have a very long front end. The head angle is pretty steep. So in that regard, it's not the most downhill capable bike, but it's a very cross country-ish, very aggressive sort of bike. It had 26-inch wheels. Uh, I really think that Firefox should come out with a variant which has 27.5-inch wheels. But I think so that this bike is on its way out, because Firefox hasn't really revealed a new color for the bike, or a new given any updates to the bike. Uh, I did change a lot. I don't have the original photos of this bike, but like you can see here, this is after all the upgrades I did to the bike. And to check out everything that I did to my bike, you can check out my previous video. Like I said, uh, it was a good bike. It was sort of on the heavy side, which is expected of this price range. The bike weighed somewhere around, I think, 16 kgs. So not the most heaviest bike in its class, but on the lighter side per se. But it still wasn't the best. Another thing that you had to keep top of was that you had to do a pre-ride bolt check every time you went for a ride, because the rear linkage is so not well designed. that it keeps coming loose and you have to keep tightening it up. So this bike was good but wasn't the best performing bike. This bike took a lot out of my pocket after purchasing the bike to keep it up and running, to ride this bike aggressively and have more fun on it. So that fun came at a cost, which I think you are better off buying a hardtail, and once you progress into the sport, then I would suggest you get a full suspension bike. And these days you can buy a lot of good full suspension bikes. The overview of my bike, I haven't seen my bike in over a see how it's been. But anyways, that's been it. If you guys have any suggestions on how I can improve my videos or how can I make more content, please leave it down in the comment section, and I will definitely read it. Also, my Instagram is down in the description box. If you can head over there and give me a follow. If you need to get in touch with me, you can head down there. You can contact me, and if you have any questions that you need some help with or some sorting out with, I'll try my best to help you out with it. Anyways, see you guys soon. Thank you all for spending your time with me. This is Ride Urban signing out.